Okay, Martin Edmondson, Managing and Creative Director of Reflections. We've put around 3 years of work into Driv3r. In fact, if you take the physics engine that went, of course, into Stuntman first, it's actually more like 5 years. So a huge amount of work. And the team size right now, we're around right on 100 people. There's 3 cities. We've got 156 miles of drivable road. And on top of that, a lot of back alleyways and parks and so on that you can drive that are not marked on the map, that are on top of that. 35,400 individually placed buildings. It's compared to Driv1 and 2, it's just massive. The on-foot sections were expanded, so you could walk around on foot in Driv2, of course, but you've got a gun now, so we've tried to bring the same level of destructive action that you have in the car out of the car with the guns, and the realism of the guns and the reaction of the guns with the cars, grenade launchers, the way that they affect cars and so on. So it's pretty simple, the out-of-car action in terms of gameplay. There's nothing complex, there's no fighting or anything, but you know, it is a driving game, so that's a side part of the game really, but we have tried to make it fun and pick up and play. Yeah, the driving games are really designed for somebody who, you know, gets back from the bar with his friends and just wants to have a blast, drive around, crash into things. Very quick races, quick chases, you chasing a guy, being chased by the cops, checkpoint races and so on. The survival game where you have 4 cops trying to smash your car to pieces, you just got to try and stay alive as long as you can. So they're pretty simple games really, just designed to be very pick up and play. The story is, you play the part of Tanner again, as in Driv1, Driv2, undercover cop. Very much running on the edge of the law, really. More of a James Bond character, I suppose. He's licensed to do pretty much whatever he wants to get the job done. And in this particular story, in Driv3r, you're trying to infiltrate a gang of car thieves. And that involves gaining their trust, working for them, and ultimately, of course, bringing down the gang of car thieves. But that involves doing a lot of missions for them, stealing cars and various other things as well. Every game previously to Driver that we've done, we used voice talent, but not genuine actors, as in known actors, screen actors. And we just wanted an extra level of realism, not so much for recognisable voices, but more just the difference that using real actors brings is incredible. When we had the original voice actors in there, it had a slightly wooden quality to it when you listen to them. When we put the real actors in there, it just flows so naturally, it just becomes a lot more believable and really draws you into the story a lot better.
These guys sent me a script and asked me to take a look at it, and I'm usually asked to play the heavy. I'm usually asked to, be the bad guy, the one who gets thrown out the window. And so I liked the driver because he's kind of the hero. He has his own way of going about things, but at least he survives at the end of the story. I mean, the thing I like about voiceover is that when you go in to work, you don't have to shave. It's a fun process. It's a great process. It's collaborative. You have a director, and you have I could watch the characters and the way they animated me and stuff like that. And I have 5 sons, and they play a lot of video games, so I thought they'd get a kick out of seeing me in the game. Well, I did a voice in Vice City, but it was a small role. It was like 10 lines, and then I did a voice in True Crime, but it was the same thing. It was like 10, 12, 15 lines, and I didn't really know that much about the content of the games. And in the Driver, I had a lot more. I was asked for a lot more collaboration, and I really appreciated that. It made it a better experience.
I became involved with the project because I told my agency at the time that I wanted to do voiceovers for video games because I thought it would be fun. My character is Carlita, and she basically smuggles vehicles, really nice, luxurious vehicles, back and forth from places like Europe to the States, and she sells them. Makes tons of money off of it. The beauty of it all is that you get to see the development of a video game. I mean, I basically saw a scratched out version of the characters, and like the background is completely white, and you have like the graphics of the characters isn't completely finished, but you see them interact in a room. You get to see their mannerisms and stuff, and that's how I decide, whether a character is pissed off, angry, happy when they speak, because and then I match that because of what you see. And it's kind of cool because then you see the finished product, and then you look at the graphics, and then you see the background that they add to it, and how they went around to places like Miami and just took thousands and thousands of pictures and came up with, a surrealistic version of reality.
The content is basically the same between the two console versions. Where they differ are in things such as the texture sizes are larger in the Xbox. When we're finished, there'll be full screen anti-aliasing and so on. So and a lot of other things, effects like the way that we do the reflections on the road surfaces and normal mapping on the characters and so on. So just playing to the strengths of the individual console, really. Different cars, there's around 70 or thereabouts. In the city, there's hundreds of cars driving around, obviously. But pretty much anything that you can find that's driving around, you can jump into and steal. There's nothing that drives around that you can't get into. Even a few things that aren't driving around that you can get into as well. Forklift trucks and things like that. The weapons, they're designed to be fun, and there's a range of guns in there. There's a couple of handguns, which he starts off with. But there's also machine guns, the two-handed shoulder-mounted machine guns, the smaller, really rapid-fire mini submachine guns, the Mac 10 type of things. There's also a shotgun, and probably the most fun, the one that we're probably the most proud of, is the grenade launcher, because if you can put a grenade under a car, when it blows up, the car just blows into hundreds of pieces. The thing we're most proud about this one is really, I suppose, how hard we've pushed the PlayStation 2 in terms of visuals and the dynamics, the physics. The kind of things that are going on, the size of the cities, the detail in the cities. It's all very well building a big city, but if you look at the buildings, if you look at closely, they've got the things hanging off them, and they all cast shadows, and all that stuff takes its toll on the hardware. And we've gone all out really to try and get everything in terms of the visuals and the physics and the crash dynamics and so on.
This is my destiny.
My name's Sean Mullens, and I'm the director of the film that Run the Gauntlet. Ridley Scott Associates is a production company that it has commercial division, feature film division called Scott Free, and music video division called Black Dog. And RSA USA is the commercial production division. We do commercials for every different brand you can imagine. Well, the film really is just an amplification of the game. I mean, it was inspired by the game. It's not a direct pull from the game, but it has all of the elements that the game has in it. It's just kind of amped up about 20 times, hopefully, to provide something a bit more as entertaining as the game. Well, live action, you don't have the option of like doing it over and over again. You have one time to do a stunt where a car flips, or you have 20 cars to crash instead of an infinite number of cars to crash during the making of it. And so the constraints are much tighter, but it's also, there's more room for kind of happy accidents, which I don't think you get in the game world because it's all numbers. The trailer is, the film itself is 3 minutes in length. Then out of that, there'll be 1 minute episodes broken out that'll air on the internet. And I think once all three of them have finally aired, then the 3 minute film will also be on the internet. I spoke with Martin, the developer of the game, in the very beginning, and got some of his insight, kind of more about the character development, things like that, looked at the script. And then from there, really, I was kind of pretty much left to do whatever I wanted to do, which was fantastic. We shot in Los Angeles, all around Los Angeles, Long Beach. We were trying to find kind of a nondescript locations that would feel like, Miami. So quite challenging because we shot on the 3 shortest days with lighting of the year, and everything we had was pretty much external. So we were going very fast. I think the thing I'm most proud about is just the fact that it truly is an amplification of the game. It's funny because I hadn't seen much game footage until today, and looking at the game footage and playing it, I feel like it really embodies the game, which is kind of nice.